Who is your on your watch list
for guys that I want the Rockets to bring in?
Yeah,
I really want to see, and this series isn't over yet. I really want to see what happens at the end of this Bucks season. They're down 3-1 to the Pacers.
I'm curious too.
My number one is Giannis. He's worked out with Hakeem Olajuwon. He loves food. Houston has great food. Houston has a lot of other things too. Seems like he's a little horny based off of some comments that he makes from time to time about his wife.
As discussed,
maybe
not great
he likes
beaches.
Maybe he likes from time to time. Houston, not great beaches, does have great strip clubs. If his wife lets him go to those things, I don't know. That could be a draw as well.
Probably better beaches than Milwaukee though.
He plays basketball like a football player, which I love. He has been one of the best players in the NBA for at least 5 years in a row. He is very likable. I want this man more than anyone possible. Yeah. Giannis. I don't know if it's possible to get him. I really don't, but I wonder if the Bucks look at themselves in the mirror after going all in to get Damian Lillard and to make Giannis happy, seemingly. I wonder if he still looks at Milwaukee and thinks to himself, yeah, I want to stay here. Yeah, I can make it happen here. Because obviously,
I wanted that too.
It seems like there's a chance that Kevin Durant, based off of LeBron's comments last night, it seems like there's a chance LeBron will be a free agent. Though that just involves a lot. But if the Rockets go to get anybody this offseason, the guy that I want is Giannis.
Yeah, he's definitely at the top of the list. LeBron James is always going to come up in some capacity. Here's LeBron James yesterday. He was asked if that was it as a member of the Lakers.
Tonight, was there any thought at all that, this could have been your last game with the Lakers?
I'm not going to answer that. Appreciate it.
Not going to answer that.
And then he walked off.
He appreciates it.
Leave it to him to make the end of the season about him. That's who he is. That's how he's always been. I will say, if you are LeBron, you got to weigh your options. Are you going to be able to win another championship? Are you even being looked at by teams across the league as somebody who can carry a team to a championship?
I don't think it matters.
You don't?
I take more into what Shams reported yesterday, that the Lakers are considering drafting Bronny to make LeBron happy.
I did see that report.
I just wonder if that matters. I think that matters more for LeBron as a dad, as someone who just has pushed this narrative so much that he wants to play with his son. Now, I don't know what he's going to do if he's only going to, he's going to go back into games when his team's down by 20, because that's when Bronny's going to be getting NBA minutes, I guess. But because he's not a starting NBA player. But if Bronny comes out this year, he's going to get overdrafted, and someone's going to do it with the hope of luring LeBron.
If he gets drafted at all, that is legitimately at the end of Say Anything, John Cusack holding up a boombox playing Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel. I mean, it is so desperate.
It's so desperate.
Desperate to the point of being, as the kids say, cringe. Any team who does this offseason, know that you will be laughed at and know that it is deserved. It's definitely different to draft Bronny James, the son of LeBron James, than Shabazz Napier, like the Heat did, to try and keep LeBron around. It's still pathetic.
Here's the thing.
It'll sell tickets.
Do it.
Yeah, having LeBron on your team is worth a second-round pick.
I don't want
this. This draft sucks. This draft is not good.
In a good draft, you're basically trading a second-round pick for LeBron James.
Yeah. Dude, take
a guy who's
still playing great.
If the Rockets get the 10th pick in the draft, I don't care. If LeBron's coming, do it.
They'll have to cut Boban to make room for Bronny James.
Because Bronny's the new Boban. That's what's going to happen in the NBA. He's going to get cheered for at the end of games like he's Boban Marjanovic.
I don't think he will.
No, he's legitimately, I think, everything that Americans hate, like a byproduct of nepotism.
Probably.
We like to think that we are a country of equal opportunity, but in reality, we're not. It's like, hey, if you got money, great.
I mean, old school here says
it's high places, great.
Thanasis 2.0.
Yeah.
Giannis and Lillard were out the other day, and the Bucks played 10 guys without them, and they didn't play Thanos.
Is it worth
Thanasis?
You almost made up Thanos.
That's what I did. That's literally what I did.
Is it worth sacrificing literally everything Ime Udoka has built in the last calendar year to bring in would account to
a bitch.
I didn't say that. Soft.
Ime Udoka said it.
Ime Udoka said, stop bitching. You're a soft boy. Soft boys every single Wednesday here on the Galana George radio program. Is it worth it to bring in LeBron when you bring in somebody like that? Whatever your program is, good luck. Good luck. Even if the players bought into it last year, LeBron comes in, no matter what. At first, all of the players are going to do whatever they can to get on LeBron's good side. And then some will find out the hard way that that's just not possible, and then they will maybe start to regret that they have moved from one direction to another. Well, if you bring in LeBron, you are completely castrating Ime Udoka.
This is not something teams that are like serious should do. Honestly, it should be either the Lakers to keep LeBron, also not that serious of a team, or a team that is like a team that actually just having LeBron on your team would like just generate so much more extra interest that it becomes worth it.
Well, that's the problem though, because if we look at the actual basketball operations for the Rockets, I feel like over the last calendar year, Rafael Stone has certainly done well. I think with Ime Udoka, he's done great. But if you're Tillman Fertitta or you're Patrick Fertitta and you have the chance to add someone like LeBron and make your franchise relevant, even if it's just for LeBron on a level that they haven't been in a very long time, as a business person, you realize how much of a W that would be, even if it's super temporary and super short-lived.
The one player I'm looking out for the most, besides, because I'm with you on Giannis, I'm a little concerned about the injury stuff for him, because it seems to be happening more and more frequently. So the number one guy on my list is Devin Booker. He's the guy I'm most fascinated with because like he's been loyal to that franchise. They were an awful run. They were awfully run. He stuck with it. He wasn't like a vocal complainer. They get Chris Paul. They figure it out, and then they do this all-in move with KD and Beal, and it kind of blows up in their face. In this first year, yeah, blows up in their face. I wonder if Booker would be, if Durant demands a trade, I wonder if Booker joins him, and it would be harder for them to make this move. But you have this idiot running this team now, Matasheba, the new owner. I mean, he clearly has no idea what he's doing. And
I mean, yeah, he's even getting shoved by players in the middle of games.
Yeah, like, I wonder if Booker could be made available this offseason. And if you can make that move, whatever you want.
He's in the spot where it's...
You don't have enough.
Well, just like Phoenix is also like, hey, we're not going to trade him unless he not only demands a trade, but like kind of makes it ugly too. Because... They basically have no like we've been talking about with the Nets and the Rockets having all the Nets picks. Therefore, the Nets have no incentive to be bad. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the Suns, where there's actually not any incentive for them to be bad. So any move they make, they have to at least remain decent.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna. I mean, maybe they end up doing it, but right now, because they're, again, an illogical team, but there's no reason that they should take a salary matching poo-poo platter and Jalen Green
and all the Brooklyn picks.
Yeah, because it's like, cool, now we're just hoping that Brooklyn stinks. It's not a great plan. What the better plan would be to just either try to just do it again, try to be decent again, or to maybe trade Durant and keep Booker.
Yeah.
You don't have enough, I think, to even get Booker too. You know, I would love to see them at least.
I think they do.
No, you don't have that.
I would say I don't think there's not a team in the NBA that has better assets than the Rockets.
Well, the Thunder.
Yes,
they can just drown you.
They have 200 first-round picks.
I don't know. I mean, you're talking about not James Harden, Ben Simmons, like a couple of years ago. This is, to me, top 10, top 5 player who's young.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, this is every Brooklyn pick, every pick that you can trade. And you're probably talking about Jalen Green and Amen Thompson.
Even then, I do wonder. Like,
Yeah.
I think Booker's shown that he's the kind of player that
top five players don't get swept in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, every player is gettable.
top five players don't get swept in the first round by a player who dominates you, who plays the same position as you do. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, that guy. Whew, he's special.
Not available, I'm guessing.
Definitely not available.
it would have been nice if he was available.
Not
Would
available.
have been nice if he was available. Well, okay.
Would you take KD?
That's what I was about to look at.
Yeah.
So Kevin Durant's contract expires 2 years from now. He's got this coming season. He's got another season. He will be 38 when he is a free agent. He will be 36 when this year starts. You're talking about $50 million each of the next 2 seasons against your cap. I think he's gettable, much more gettable than Devin Booker. But I also think you got to wonder, does he look at the Rockets as a place where he can win? Because ultimately, it's going to be about, can Durant get a title and seem like he won the title on his own? Because I think at this point, I think more than anything, especially after he's been on a couple of super teams, I think he would like to be the headliner for a title team.
Same thing with LeBron. Kevin Durant also. You're not winning a title with them as your best player.
Yeah,
They're too old at this point.
and they don't play any defense.
Yeah,
I wonder if Ime would have any interest in it.
It's also like with LeBron, he played well in the Nuggets series, but we've seen what what actually top shelf LeBron winning championships is, and that is like affecting every single play on offense and defense for a full game, and dragging a team to the finals. And he's still great. He can still do it in spurts. But when you saw in the series against the actual best player in the league, he cannot do that. He cannot rise up to that level. Same thing with Durant. And another thing you have to remember with these guys that are 38 and 35 years old, 36 years old, do they want to play with 21-year-old Alperen Şengün? Do they want to play with 22-year-old or 21-year-old Tari Eason and Amin Thompson and Cam Whitmore not passing it to him? Like, do they want to play with these guys? I don't think they want to play with these guys.
Maybe if those guys can shoulder the load since they're up there in age, maybe. But that, again, is a matter of, does Durant look at this team and think that it gives him a better chance? So what you said, Sean, yeah, you're right. Durant, LeBron, they're not
They're just
doing
not
it on
that
their own
guy.
anymore.
They're not those guys anymore.
But could they be the best player or highest profile player on a team? I think that Durant makes you at the very least a playoff team. Obviously, that's great. You would take that in a heartbeat. Would having a guy like him on your team put you in the realm, though, where you think you can win?
Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns. just look at the Phoenix
Yeah.
Suns.
So to go back to where I was saying with like why maybe the Fertittas would look at LeBron, like the same reason that they would potentially look at Durant, and I think this is what's going to be really interesting is to see just how much autonomy Ime Udoka, who I think is running the show, and Rafael Stone is probably got his own say, but is listening more so. Can they tell? Will they tell the Fertitta family, who will probably look at LeBron and Durant and realize this will give us eyeballs and relevance and money?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth it to just be relevant if you're not even a title contender?
Yeah, that's a good question.
If you believe the reports, that is basically what Ime Udoka did last summer with Fred VanVleet versus James Harden. Was the plan before they hired before they hired Ime Udoka was to get James Harden, and Ime Udoka's like,
But
no thanks.
But with Harden, I think it's different than those two.
Well, locally, you're raising your profile so much more.
True, but is it about the local profile in a city that's really not that diehard about basketball as much as, like finding yourself featured on SportsCenter or doing what they did when they first got Yao Ming, which was just become more of an international brand? Like, don't you want to sell like Rockets jerseys that have Kevin Durant or LeBron on them?
I get what you're saying, and yes, I guess as like business wise, you'd want the three biggest stars in the world, or I guess the two biggest stars. We started talking about, are people still watching the playoffs for LeBron and AD, or LeBron and KD and Steph Curry? And then now we're talking about Well, obviously, you'd make so much money if you just have these guys on your team. It's two different arguments. But but what you also have to remember, and this is why I think this is just not going to happen. These guys have to want to play on this team. Like they're not going to get traded against their will.
Why are you so convinced that they wouldn't want to be here? Like if they don't want to be in their situation, why would they not look at this positively?
Guys don't want to play with guys that are 15 years younger than them.
But there's only, but your core is young. But you have Fred, you have Dylan, you have Adams.
How would you match the salary to trade for these?
You'd have to move some of those guys.
That's going to be a big option.
You'd have to trade the guys they want to play with.
I mean, LeBron would be legitimately the easiest to make happen if he, as you said, Sean, wants to come here, which is certainly a big if.
He didn't want to play here with Chris Paul, his friend.
Exactly.
He didn't want to play back when they're good.
But see, my pushback to that is that's Daryl. That's my honest opinion. Is like the reason why people didn't want to come here is what JJ Redick's talked about, where it's like,
yeah, I think that's fair.
You're not a player in an organization. You're not trying to win a championship. You are just the next asset to get moved in the mind of Daryl Morey.
Harden was the only one that was immune from that.
Yeah, I hope the view of the Rockets organization has changed in that way.
Well, views can change really quick. I mean, look at the Texans right now. So that's not to say it's impossible for them to have changed a lot of opinions, and things are significantly different than they were in the 3 years before. Though, to what you were saying, Joe, I do think too, like, is LeBron really going to say no to every option? Like the Lakers have the card in the back of their pocket. The Lakers have always gone above and beyond to support stars, and they would do the drafting of Bronny. Mm-hmm. I mean, they gave Kobe that extension. It was a terrible extension. It's a completely unnecessary extension, but they were like, no, but you're Kobe. We will treat Kobe right. So there's that, but who else, I guess, is looking at LeBron and saying, like, yeah, not only will we potentially sign him and basically let him do whatever he wants, we will also draft his son. And I don't know that Udoka and Stone would feel that way, but I could easily see Tillman Fertitta saying, come on, it's LeBron, even if it's a year.
Yeah.
You also have to remember, though, you have to have cap space to make this happen.
That's true, and they do not have any.
Yeah, the only teams with cap space that are in the playoffs that project to have like max cap space in the playoffs are the Philadelphia 76ers, whose GM is
Daryl Morey, and
the Orlando Magic, who are the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, it's you can, and obviously like sign trades exist. So like you could, in theory, work with the Lakers on something. If
the Lakers, who by the way basically let their team be run by LeBron's agency.
Yeah.
But here's where they draw the line.
Yeah, a couple things with this that are important to note. There are some new rules in the NBA that are in the collective bargaining agreement that are going to make these conversations interesting in the future. If you go above the second apron, they call it, in terms of how much money you have on your books, there's going to be new limitations in terms of trades. The team that's above the second apron is no longer allowed to send out cash in a deal. They are no longer to trade first-round picks that are more than 6 years into the future in a deal. And they cannot make any trades in which they take back more salary. So before, you could at least, like, you could get close to LeBron's contract in this hypothetical situation and take back more money. That's not going to be allowed anymore. So there are going to be certain teams, like, it's going to change the formula of potentially where these guys, when they demand trades, where they can even want to go to.
So like Golden State couldn't trade for LeBron.
Yes,
basically.
exactly. Like that is impossible now, basically, at this point. The other name I want to throw out there, because of the way he's talked about Alperen Şengün and the way he's talked about Jalen Green, you want to talk about guys wanting to come here, Paul George. It's the guy I'm looking at that I'm, of who would want to come here, Paul George is the guy for me. Just like based on the way he's talked about the Rockets' young core. I don't know if I want Paul George here. I like Paul George.
I don't know if I do or I don't. The Clippers are just weird.
It depends on the day.
Out there,
you kind of have to trade Dylan Brooks to make it happen.
Oh, duh. Yeah.
I don't want that. I want to keep Dylan.
I really don't.
Dylan Brooks is just a more fun player than Paul George.
Yeah, Paul George, you have to deal with this podcast.
I'd be cool with the podcast. We'd get content. That's for sure.
That's true.
But I mean, Dylan Brooks gives you, I'm going to kick someone in the nuts like I'm Eric Cartman content.
We can ask someone else to do it.
Who?
Yeah, but it won't be the same. It won't be the same. He's
Who?
gonna
Aaron
have to,
Holiday?
He's going to have to build up that reputation.
King Cam Wharton won't be that guy?
No.
No, I don't want
Whitmore
Cam
only
to do
cares
that.
about one thing.
Can Ben Thompson be that guy?
No,
No.
he's a sweetheart.
Too important to get thrown out of games.
Steven Adams would just punch you in the face. He wouldn't go low.
Steve Adams is more bodyguard
Yeah.
for when your guy's mouth off. He's not instigator. He
Yeah.
doesn't start the fight, he finishes it.
He's got
Okay.
that New Zealand sense of honor.
Well, just
that
whoever
I
they
just
get with
made
like
up.
the 10th pick in the draft. Jay Sean Tate.
Just get a goon.
Yeah, just get a goon.
Just draft a goon.
Like
Okay.
we're not drafting. We are drafting someone to kick people in the nuts and replace Dylan Brooks. problem solved.
Does Duke have anyone coming out this year?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, the guy who injured his calf.
Oh, Filipowski or whatever.
Yeah.
Not a culture fit.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Not a culture fit?
No.
Yeah.
We're
Why?
looking to do that to other people.
Oh.
All right.
He can't be flopping. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
you may call him a
he has
soft ass
victim
boy.
written across his forehead.
Victim.